This is not meant to be too serious, so don't get mad at what I'm saying, but I just thought it would be funny to make a little list of things that you shouldn't say to a writer. And some of these, actually most of these, are things that people have said to me, and yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to put them into a list. So the first thing that you shouldn't say to a writer is, you haven't published yet because you're too fussy. And I did have someone say this to me once, and the reason you shouldn't say this is because I don't believe it's true. Writers aren't necessarily fussy. There is a lot that goes into writing, and you can't just magically fast track the process unless you want to produce something that's not very good. It's not about being a perfectionist either, because I think most writers are pretty realistic that the end product is never going to be perfect, and that's kind of part of the process. You have to learn that it's never going to be perfect. When I write a book, especially one of my long books, I end up doing several drafts, sometimes up to 4 drafts, and trying to fit that in around work and just life. It does take a long time to piece it all together. So yeah, don't call a writer fussy. The next thing is, oh, you're a writer, so what's your real job? This one annoys me for multiple reasons, but I think the main one is because a lot of writers, I would assume, don't put all of their worth into their job that pays them money. So I'm talking about writers that might not necessarily have an actual career as a writer. They have another job as well. So I work in retail, but my real passion is writing. So when I share with someone that I'm a writer and they ask what my real job is, it's like, you mean the job that earns me money? Okay. I think this would be even more offensive if I was earning quite a bit of money as a writer and someone asked me what my real job was. So definitely don't say this to a writer, whether they're at the beginning of their career or they're further down the track. The next thing is, what's your book about? Now I understand why people ask this question, but what do you want to know? Do you want to know the themes? Do you want to know the characters? Do you want to know the plot outline? What are you actually asking, you know? Because there's a lot of things my book's about. It's so broad that just asking that is really hard to answer, unless you just want like a basic summary that you might read on the back of a book, like, this character does this and discovers this. Then yeah, sure, we can give you that, but in our minds there's a lot more going on than just a basic outline. The next one is, don't just say, it must be so fun, because I think that sort of makes it sound like it's not really a job or it doesn't come with its challenges. Yes, writing can be amazing. The actual drafting process where you can just kind of let loose and write whatever you feel is wonderful. Editing is painful. It is not fun. It's rewarding. I guess that's the difference. It's not fun, but it is rewarding in a lot of ways to edit and look back and think, yeah, that's a really good piece of writing. But fun? Not so much. The next thing is, don't say to a writer, I wish I had time to write. Because even though it's not that simple, I think that if writing is something that you genuinely want to do, you will find time, whether you're tired, busy, sick, whatever. You can always find time, I believe. whether that's an hour a week or, you know, an hour a day. If you want to be a writer and you want to have a book or whatever, and you're not writing, well then, you know, that's kind of on you. The next one is, please do not say, oh, you're a writer, so you're going to be the next J.K. Rowling, because, first of all, not all writers are going to be millionaires. I think that's very obvious, especially in the self-publishing world. A lot of writers just publish for the love of it. Some don't even publish. So putting that expectation on someone to be one of the most highly paid writers in the world is ridiculous. And as a side note, I think J.K. Rowling is not a good person to bring up these days. The next one is, please don't say that you want to read it and that you're going to read it and then never do, because I know from my own journey with writing is I don't expect anyone to read it, and when people do, it's like really, it is really like kind. It feels like an act of kindness to read my work, and if someone says that they're going to and then they don't, that feels worse than if they just hadn't said that they would in the first place. Because yeah, we put a lot of work into it, and I know that people are busy and like, yeah, some people just don't read that often. And yeah, but don't give your writer friend false hope, because our writing means so much to us. The next one is, don't say this if your writer friend is still working on their project. Don't ask them if you can read it. Because chances are they are working through some major issues like plot holes or like rearranging the entire thing. So saying, can I read it, is like, do you mean like the first page, the first sentence? Like, do you want me to just pick out a random bit? Like, it's not really that easy, and quite often we're so attached to the work that we're not going to release any of it until we feel like it's at a standard that is worth presenting. And the last thing is, how much money have you made? I don't know why, but people seem to think this is an appropriate question to ask a writer. I don't ask other people how much they make from their jobs. Maybe it is just genuine curiosity, and I can understand that, because people might think, oh, how much does a writer make? Like, can you make money from that? And it's really hard to say, like, what you earn, I suppose, because you put so much time into it that at the end of the day the money doesn't really feel like the reward. It's just the fact that you have a finished product that's the reward. For example, I have made money from my first book, but it's not much. And I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing that, because then it almost feels like not as much of an achievement in other people's eyes if they thought, oh, she actually hasn't made that much money. Because I'm proud of my work, but I don't want to put a value on it. And then just a couple of things that you should say. The first one is, well done for following your dream, even when it's unconventional and society keeps trying to make you quit and get a real job. Because it is very hard to stick to something like this when, you know, life is expensive as well. And the last thing is, you can say, I may not understand, but I'm proud of you. Because if you're someone that hasn't written a book or doesn't read or that sort of thing, that's okay. But writers need support, and they need to know that people are impressed or proud of them. Because it is a very lonely sort of job, and yeah, it can feel isolating. Anyway, that's all. Just a little video